This almost feels like spreading ketchup on a cheeseburger or something. In this video, I'm going to be replacing the corner lights, otherwise known as marker lenses, on my Volkswagen Jetta Sportwagen. Now, the ones that come from the factory are an orange amber color. The ones that I am installing today are smoked lenses. They're black instead of amber, but they're not actually smoked on the outside, so it shouldn't really affect the visibility. It should still be just as legal as the factory ones, but I think it would look much nicer. Now, these I got for 15 bucks off Craigslist. They aren't perfect. They do have scuffs and nicks and scratches in them, but I'm going to buff out as much as I can using some rubbing compound and my applicator pad. The first thing I'm going to do is get my microfiber towel cloth, get some rubbing alcohol on it, and just wipe it across the lenses. I like using rubbing alcohol on everything just because it's a very good sanitizing solution and cleanses the surface and prepares it for whatever you're doing to it, whether it be painting, plasti dipping, installing. There's a lot of things. This is just going to clean off all the dirt, debris, grime, anything that might be on the surface. This is just going to take all that off, make sure I don't scratch up the lenses when I put the rubbing compound and buff it out. Now we're going to put the rubbing compound on this applicator pad. Great, I just got it in the interior. Now this is the micro suede side of the applicator pad. We're gonna use that first, and we're just gonna put it on. I did put a lot on here, I just realized, but that's okay. Now I'm gonna work at this for a little while, the best that I can. Of course you want to do this after the rubbing alcohol is dried off, but rubbing alcohol dries off pretty quick. I was using a 70% solution, so it should have been dry by the time I started putting on this rubbing compound. I'm just going in circular motion, just working at it, the micro suede side. Alright, we'll let that sit. We'll go ahead and do it to the other one. Rubbing compound, applicator pad. Somebody's calling me. Great, I just got the stuff all over the place. Alright, now we're gonna turn it over. Use the microfiber side. Looks really good. I can still see a few places where there's nicks in the surface, but there's nothing we can do about that. Grab the shop towel and just clean up from behind. You're gonna be able to see it. Well, I might have just figured out why these were on Craigslist. Look at that. That's coming apart real easy. Which either means one of the tabs are broken or it's just coming apart. I guess that's the risk of buying used parts. But for $15, I would have expected better. The guy actually was listing it for $20, and I could actually find brand new ones on eBay for $25, even $20 if they were clear. I do have a little silicone with me, so hopefully that will help, or so that might come in handy if I do decide to use that. It's not bad. So what we need to do to get to the corner lights is to remove these 3 screws so we can reach back there and pop the lens out. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to change the halogen bulbs to LEDs. But in order to do that, we need to turn the wheel, which is what I'm going to do right now. So what you'll need to do is get your T15 torque screw. Wrong, it's T20. So what you'll need to do now is get your T20 torque screwdriver. There's a screw down at the bottom. You just unscrew that. There's also another one you feel up here. This is a second piece of wheel liner that overlaps the first one. You need to unscrew that. And this is all done using your T20 torque screwdriver. And you should go up. There should be a third one. It's up near the top of the front bumper. You need to unscrew that, and there you go. The third one fell down. Now I'm gonna pull this back. Okay, should be working. So there's actually 4 screws. The second one is down here. It's above the first one. And I missed that one. Alright, there we go. Now this whole thing's gonna come back. Now you can reach back, just pop this out, just like this. Popped out. Let's go turn the light off first. Remove this right there, and I'm going to install my LEDs at this point. So first we're gonna see how bright this is and compare it to the LED. It's actually not too bad. It's more of a rose gold color. It's not too bad. The LEDs are going to be much brighter. So we're gonna remove this bulb. Now you should be using gloves when you're handling bulbs. Don't follow my example. I don't plan on reusing that bulb, so I don't really care if I touch it with my finger. These LEDs though, I will be more careful. Try to only touch the bulb housing and not the bulb itself. So it should be plug and play. Now these bulbs are a little thick, the connections are, so it takes a little bit to push them in. I'm gonna see how bright these are. Oh yeah, those are really bright. Just for the fun of it, I'm gonna see how bright they would have been in these. Just for the sake of comparison, halogen and LEDs. Those are way brighter. Let's take this out, remove this, and now we're going to insert this into our aftermarket corner lights. Okay, that's interesting. So these have some old silicone on the outside of it, whatever this is. I'm gonna rip the old silicone off. That's some tough silicone. So I've removed as much of the silicone as I could. This was some really tough stuff, but I used a little knife and I tried to remove as much of it as I could. Now we're going to put the bulb housing back in. Now it doesn't want to go back in. I had it a minute ago. There we go. So it's pretty tight in there now. Clip it back into the bump. The only thing I'm concerned about is this loose portion right here. I'm gonna go ahead and silicone it and then we'll put it back in. Well, this is weird. What's wrong with this thing? This almost feels like spreading ketchup on a cheeseburger or something. Hopefully that should be good enough. We're gonna insert the corner lights back in. It should snap in just like that. So we're gonna reach back in, make sure it's in there nice and tight. This isn't sitting like it should be, but it's aftermarket, I guess. As long as the silicone holds up right there, it should be fine. Now we're going to get our screw and screw them back in. I just heard tires squealing back there. Someone's running from the cops or something. And I ran out of daylight, so... Oh, there it is. It's up there. Sometimes these screws are really hard to find. Is that it? What is it? They're like drilled to the side of the bumper. It's not really a spot for the screw. So we've got all four. Now we're just going to do the same thing for the passenger side. This one's being a little stubborn. It does not want to come out. Pushing on the wrong thing. Make sure you push in the clip of the lens housing and not the actual housing itself. Remove this. And also for the sake of comparison, I want to see how these factory halogens look inside these aftermarket lenses. So compare that to the aftermarket ones. Definitely not as bright. They aren't even really amber. Grab our LED. By the way, the temperature of these LED bulbs are 6000 K, if you were wondering. Xenon white. It's a very, very white color. Sometimes these will have just a tint of blue, but the ones I got, I haven't noticed any blue at all. It seems to be all just pure white, which I really like. Make sure they go in all the way. Pop it back in. Pull the back tab in. Like that. There we go. Time to screw the 4 remaining bolts back in. 2 and 4. And I'd say that looks amazing.